Once Akira had recovered from his injuries, he helped with the spring planting, and within 2 years, the farm was again turning a profit. Jiro took a sip of sake, his listeners aware that any narrative their uncle told inevitably made him the hero of the tale. "But you're not returning to live here, Oji-san?" Stanley asked. "No. Akira, Tamiko, and their children are all happy in Hofuna, as are Nishi and I. And Japan is becoming something it has never been before. A democracy. I always admired America for its democratic principles, even though those principles were not extended to me." "But the McCarran Act changed all that," Ralph pointed out. "You could be an American citizen now, just like Grandma Etsuko." "I am glad America is living up to its ideals," Jiro said. "But I am happy being a citizen of Japan at a time when that means more than it ever has." The Harada house was bursting with family on this Sunday afternoon. As Jiro held court in the living room, Frank and Ruth were preparing a supper of nori soup, beef sukiyaki, rice, green bean shirai, and mochi. Peggy, now 17, was playing softball in the street with her teenage cousins. In the dining room, Etsuko doted on Ralph and Carol's newborn daughter, Susan. At the other end of that table, 19-year-old Donnie, or Don, as he now preferred to be called, was quizzing his grandma Rachel about her travels. "So, you finally got to see the Great Barrier Reef?" "Yes, and on the way, I stopped at Rarotonga in the Cook Islands, where my father made port as a sailor. But the highlight was Australia. I took a tour of the Great Reef on a glass-bottom boat. It was so beautiful." Don said enviously, "I would love to see that someday." "How was your freshman year? Have you decided on a major yet?" "Yeah, I think so. I had this great biology professor who talked about the similarities between plants and animals. I thought about what you said in Hawaii, about how the land, sea, air, living things, how it's all interconnected. So I'm thinking about a major in biological science." "Don, can you help me set the table?" Ruth asked her son. "Sure. We'll talk more later, Tutu, okay?" Rachel felt privileged to have been included in this gathering. The Watanabes all knew she had leprosy, but if they harbored any cultural fear of the disease, they did not betray it and graciously accepted her as part of the family. She couldn't help but wonder if this was what life with Kenji's family might have been like, had they both not had Hansen's disease and been ostracized by his relations. But then, had they not been sent to Kalaupapa, she and Kenji might never have even met, much less married, on Oahu. Before dinner began, Jiro rose, held up his third glass of sake, and declared in a tone both sober and tipsy, "Thank you all for this warm welcome back to your shores. But there is one who could not sit among us today, and I must honor his memory. To Taizo, my brother, my family, my friend." Ruth would have preferred not to be reminded of an absence that still stung, even today, but like everyone else, raised her glass in honor of her otosan. As dusk fell, the teenagers gathered around the television set, watching the Jack Benny program, followed by Steve Allen's comedy variety show. In the backyard, the adults stood or sat in lawn chairs to drink beer, wine, or sake, or to smoke or make small talk. Etsuko sat at the far end of the yard, chatting with Stanley and his family.